It's bacon time. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Dads with Bacon talking sports, and we are into the month of August, August 3rd, 2023. We'll be talking today about the NFC East, our way too early predictions, as we like to call them. But football is here as we have the Hall of Fame game tonight between the Cleveland Browns and the New York Jets going on right now. But of course, none of the starters are even played. So, who knows? But it is football, so that's awesome. Also, we'll be talking about the latest from the Women's World Cup. We'll be talking about the as we come down to the last 2 months of the MLB season, and we just had the trade deadline, so we'll be discussing that a little bit, as well as a few other things. Jonathan Taylor situation. And maybe some of the latest from the world of college football too. So let's bring on, we got Big Tex TJ and Brad, who is back to school for, what is this is this the first full week or second full week for you?
For me, it's the second full week. I had to go back last Monday on the 24th. But I'll tell you what, like this week has felt like it's the 8th week.
Nice.
So yeah, I'll be
Nice.
ready for tomorrow. I'll be ready for a nice coldie once that bell hits and I'm out the door, man.
Nice.
I'm excited for that.
For sure. All right. So yeah, why don't we get right into it with our NFC East preview? Now, have either of you guys have
TJ's excited, dude. TJ's been poking the fires. He's ready to go. I'm ready to hear what TJ's got to say about this division.
Yeah, before we get into that, either of you guys watch any of the game tonight or have it on in the background right now? I'm assuming TJ does.
Right now as we speak.
Yeah, I got it on another tab over here on the other
Gotcha.
monitor. So it's I'm kind of peeking back and forth as the game's going on.
I will say, I mean, the Hall of Fame, well, I mean, the preseason in general, but the Hall of Fame game, I mean, none of the starters ever really play, obviously, but it's still fun to watch football again. And they, they've been talking to all the Hall of Famers, and John, I forgot how amazing Joe Thomas was as an old lineman. They were talking about his current streak of or his record of 10,363 consecutive snaps that he played or something like that. I mean, that's just, here in Green Bay, we hype up Brett Favre's, consecutive start streak and everything else. But they also said that in his time with the Cleveland Browns, they won 29% of their games. And I'm like, my God, that's it's amazing that a guy like that, you just don't see that this day and age.
Yeah, and to say that you're a player that, I mean, think about this. In a 16-year career, that is a first. That's long.
Yeah.
Number two, that you've played every snap that you were eligible to play in your entire.
Yeah.
I mean, that to me, that's like, I'm not. How do you top that? How do you?
Well, and I was listening to some sports talk earlier today. They were talking to one of the guards, I think it was, that he's in his 10th year now for the Browns, and he played for like 4 years with Joe Thomas, and he was talking about like how many games they were, it was near the end of the year, they were out of it, they weren't even close to making the playoffs or anything like that. It's December, you're tired, it's cold in Cleveland, and he's like, and that guy wouldn't sit. I mean, he could have taken some downs off even or some series off, but he's like, nope, he didn't want. I mean, that's really just a remarkable, saying something about you as a human being, and just your desire to really make an impact on your team and everything, and the players around you. So, TJ, were you going to say something or?
Oh no, I'm
okay.
actually watching it halftime.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's
right,
and I'm sure, like, TJ knows, having played with other dudes, like there are people that you look at them and you say, yeah, there's a pro's pro. He knows how to manage himself. He knows how to conduct his attitude around other people. He knows how to be a positive influence, and not he's like, there's going to be zero reason that we are going to go anywhere backwards or go anywhere negative because of me.
Yeah. Exactly. So, all right. So anyway, yeah. And there were, by the way, I don't need to, And Troy, yeah, if you want to come on, we just got a text from or message from Troy asking if we need him. So yeah, if you're free, come on, man. Anyway, but yeah, not to. I mean, well, let's go on to the preview. There are obviously, I think, 8 other players that are being inducted. That I think Don Coryell, obviously, I don't believe is with us anymore, but there are a number of other players and coaches that were obviously very deserving as well. But yeah, I just thought that was remarkable. I had never even heard that number about with Joe Thomas in that consecutive snap. So, okay. So, anyway, TJ, why don't we get started here with the NFC East preview?
Oh yeah.
And we'll let you go first this time, seeing as I think a lot of times we go around the horn and yeah, since this is your division, it's NFC North is Brad in my division here. So we'll give you the first dibs on the NFC East.
So NFC East, we already know how it is. Cowboys going undefeated. They're going to see the Chiefs in the Super Bowl and smack that ass everywhere. I ain't got Marco to say nothing to me tonight.
Here, TJ. Yeah. TJ, you hit that right there, dude.
No. So I'll be completely honest with you. Looking at the NFC East today, I did a little. We're doing our preseason predictions and this everything. I am honestly more terrified this season with the Cowboys than anything. Yeah, we don't have Zeke anymore, so I kind of want to see how Tony Pollard will fit into the scheme. Now, the one guy I'm very interested to see if he stays is Deuce Vaughn from Kansas State. Shifty little Minnie Mouse, man. That dude is just like this big, and he'll fit through anything. So I'm worried that we're not going to be able to be very productive offensively. Now, defensively, dude, I don't even want to start with that because I feel like that's just going to be what if we were to go anywhere this season. I feel like that's what's going to win us everything. Micah Parsons is just an animal by himself. We picked up Stephon Gilmore. Not sure how well he'll fit with us. I mean, we'll see what truly happens, but I'm excited to, really see what this defense has after a solid year last year. So enough with the Cowboys because I could go on all night. I honestly, look at the rest of the East. I think, Washington, they've got too much on their plate to truly focus this season. They got a new ownership. There's a lot of drama with them getting a new football stadium where the old RFK stadium is. So it's. Oh, hi Troy.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
You're in the middle of my NFC East rant.
Well, I mean, that's fine. I got to catch up on what's going on here. I guess I got called in last minute as a substitute. So
bring in the righty.
Call it the bullpen. Here we go.
But yeah. So I think Washington has a little bit too much on their plate. I don't know if they're truly going to focus this season just because of everything that's going on. Then you got the Eagles. They went to the Super Bowl last year and they lost it, so they got that chip on their shoulder that hey, we can make it this far. Can we do it again? So I feel like that would be the biggest, in my eyes, that'd be the biggest opponent that we would have in NFC East. And the Giants were really good. They kind of like tidal wave through the whole season last year, and I want to kind of see if they do the same thing or if they've just plateaued and kind of stayed the same. So my prediction, of course, Dallas is number 1. I got the Eagles at number 2. I got Giants at 3, and then whatever the team name is that they have now at 4.
Whatever the team name they have right now.
Nice, Brad. What do you think for the?
I think that the NFC East is a honestly, I just gotta be straight up. I think it's a 1-team division. I think it's Philly special. That team, even with the loss of like Hargrave to 49ers or a few other pieces here and there because of Super Bowls and success. That I think they've drafted well, and they've also picked up a couple free agents that are going to fill in well. So I see the Eagles definitely winning the division, going 13-4, maybe 12-5. I see Dallas at a close second. I don't think there's going to be much of a drop off. I don't. I agree with TJ where offensively I kind of worry about Dallas. I don't worry about the rushing side of the attack because I think Tony Pollard will suffice. I think they've got a couple guys in the stables that they'll be able to carry the rock behind Pollard. That's no big deal. But your lack of options on the passing side, and I also think that's where you're going to miss Zeke is a little bit of extra pass protection. He's your safety blanket out of the backfield, and to be quite honest, like Dalton Schultz, isn't he gone, or is he?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, he went to Houston.
Yeah. So I mean, all your safety blankets are now missing. So I think they take a step backwards in the passing game, not necessarily because of Dak, just because of lack of weapons offensively. They need some help outside. They need a slot receiver and clearing out a tight end. So all you got is CD and is Michael Gallup still around?
Yeah, he's still around. There is a I don't know if you want to call him like a red shirt rookie. That's what I'm going to call him. He was out last season with a torn ACL. His name slips me too. It's a giant Samoan guy, and he's been all over Instagram, or TikTok. Sorry, and he talks about like what it's gone through, without Zeke, without Dalton Schultz, and he goes, "We've honestly become more of a family without Zeke in this organization." He goes, but Dalton was like the dad who like fixed everything. So now that he's gone, it's like, who's going to take his spot?
Yeah, and I think that at best Dallas goes 11-6. I think they're 11-6, maybe a 10-7 team if they don't get some balls, like some bounces going their way, or if they just can't get the offense going to score enough points. I think the Giants also take a small step back, not a big one. I think them making the playoffs with that, with Dable's the man right now. I think I think that he's arguably one of the, even though like again he hasn't won a championship, hasn't he's taken his team to the playoffs once, but you've seen like in your eyes seen like what did he do with Josh Allen in order to make him better? What has he done with Daniel Jones in order to make him better? And it's very tangible, extremely tangible. They turn the ball over fewer or much less than what they had previously. And not to mention, I think they're like the way that I don't know, it just seems they develop as a passer. They're just a genuinely better passer because of his coaching. But again, I think their defense is still suspect. So I think they go 10-7 at best, 9-8. I think 9 wins is good for them. Washington, Jesus.
Does Rivera make the season, Brad?
I don't think so. I think the new ownership is gonna, after this season, they're gonna want to sever. They're gonna cut the umbilical cord. It is gone. Everything that will be anything related to Daniel Snyder will be severed. I mean, shoot. I mean, look, Jacoby Brissett, your starter. I mean, again, Jacoby is a nice place dude. He ain't gonna light you up, but he ain't gonna win you games.
Is he gonna start? You don't think Sam Howell is?
I thought Sam Howell was a starter.
So is Sam Howell, I mean, what kind of experience does he have?
Well, yeah, but I mean, at least you already know what you have with Brissett, right? At least let's find out what you got with Howell,
Yeah. Now, I do think Washington's got a really good running attack. They've got some good. They've got some, with Robinson and Gibson. That's a very underrated 1-2 punch on the ground. But other than that, I still think they go 5-12.
Okay. No, what talking about Washington is, I mean, I obviously don't follow them as much as I do some other teams, but Taylor Heineke, is he is he not on the team anymore?
I
Or
don't
No.
think so.
Oh, okay.
Where did he go?
All right.
I'm looking that up. Right
He's
now.
playing
He
like
is-
Atlanta.
He's playing for He's playing for Atlanta.
Atlanta. Okay. Cool. All right. Well, yeah, I didn't when you didn't mention them, I was like, well, he was the one that gave the Packers fits a few different games.
Mhm.
So, all right, Troy, how about you? What are your thoughts on the NFC East?
Well, I think the division is going to probably end up pretty close to the way it ended up last year. The one thing that disappointed me about the way the season was last year, when Philly played Dallas, the first game, Dak was hurt. They played Cooper Rush as the backup, and Philly
Yep.
wins that game. Fast forward to game 2, Jalen's hurt, and Dallas beats Philly with Minshew as quarterback. So they never really got each other with their best shot, and I was a little disappointed at that because I would have liked to seen how that would have played out. I think the Eagles really benefited from a soft schedule last year a lot,
I agree.
Okay.
and I think because of that, what did they end up with last year? 3 or 4 losses? You remember?
They were 13-4.
Yeah.
Okay.
13-4, yep.
I think because of that soft schedule, they're probably going to end up with more losses, but I still think they're going to squeak out this division. I see them around 11-6, maybe 12-5, somewhere around that range.
They're 14-3.
Oh, that's what I thought. Okay, yeah, because they only lost one game up until they had the 2-game slide at the end of the year there, and then they had to win that last game or whatever to wrap up home field because San Francisco almost snuck up on them, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I think Atlanta. I think Philly still sneaks this out barely. The one thing I think that it's continuing to get overlooked is Dallas's defense, and that defense is for real. They cause havoc.
Yeah,
They cause turnovers. And I think that's going to win them some games this year. And I think they're going to rely on that running game a lot more than they ever have. I think you're going to see a lot of play action. I think Gallup really thrives on the play action. So I think they're going to end up second. I think they're going to be right there with them, maybe a game behind. So whatever Philly ends up, I think Dallas is 1 game behind them. And then the Giants, again, like Brad said, I think they're going to take a step back, but not really because they lost any talent, just because they're going to be playing a little bit tougher competition. And people are going to have a book on them now. You see that a lot of times with first-year head coaches. Nobody really knows what to expect. They kind of take people off guard. Now you have a whole offseason to go after them and figure out what their weaknesses are and stuff.
It's going to be hard. I agree. It's going to be hard to pass on Dallas this year, man. I mean, their secondary is so good. It's so good.
Let's not even forget their secondary. Think about the guys rushing him.
Yeah,
I mean,
Lawrence and Smith up there. I mean,
and Parsons.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They're going to cause a lot of turnovers. That's a fantasy defense you definitely want to look for. But so I think the Giants end up third, and obviously Washington is going to pull up the rear in this division. It's really weird. It seems like it's so clear cut this year, and I don't remember the NFC East really ever being that year. It was always like up in the air. What team's going to get lucky and win that division this year? You know, like that's the way it always seemed to be.
Yeah.
But this year it seems clear cut. Now, obviously, injuries could change that big time or whatever could happen. But yeah, I mean, I think Washington. I think I give a little bit more credit to Washington than maybe Brad is. I have them maybe at 6-7 wins.
They're 8-1 last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that could all change depending on, do we get a mid-season coaching change? I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, I'm not sure they do that. Like, I'm not sure that, I think Ron Rivera has been around long enough to not have to take a week 7 axe.
Yep.
Yeah. I was gonna say I don't see them. I mean, I know the new management, wants to make some changes and things like that. And I mean, every new management does, just like Denver did and everything else. But to me, maybe I'm missing something, but I don't feel like Rivera is the one that you have to, is like the main problem with that.
I feel like Rivera is sufficient, but not phenomenal. Does that make sense? Like, I think he'll always have you hovering around 500, but I don't think you're ever going to get one of these crazy, seasons out of them. Except for that one year, they did have a good run that one year in Carolina.
Yeah.
But also Cam Newton played out of his freaking mind that year.
Yeah. Well, and I guess my other feeling with Ron Rivera is, well, and I just lost the thought. TJ, go ahead. You were going to say something. I interrupted you.
I feel like, Ron Rivera had his luster while he was at Carolina, because Carolina they had that ability to, if a player was going to go to a team, they were either going to go, Ron Rivera with Carolina because they had Cam Newton, Steve Smith, offensively they had some big names. And then you look at their defense, they had Thomas Davis, they had Luke Kuechly, Captain Mutterland, all these
Julius
big
Peppers.
names. Julius Peppers. Well, he wasn't.
I don't know if he was still there. Yeah, I don't know if he was still there.
He was with the Bears at the time.
Yeah.
Was with the Bears or the Packers? Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, one of those two. Yeah.
But they had these big names that were there, and that's where Ron Rivera thrived, was the big name players.
Let's not forget his defensive coordinator there was Sean McDermott.
Sean McDermott. Yeah. And then he leaves Carolina, goes to DC. He tries to bring the majority of Carolina with him. Instead, Carolina kind of spreads out, and a good, you look at how this happens. He leaves, comes to DC. Sean McDermott goes up to
Buffalo.
Thank you. I didn't want to say it, but yeah. And he brings a good amount of guys from Carolina to Buffalo. Buffalo starts, winning games, but DC doesn't. So, I think he lost his luster, and I think it's, he's not Riverboat Ron anymore. He's kind of Paddleboat Ron, where he's, he's
Paddleboat Ron.
So who is
canoeing Ron?
Let me just ask you this then before we move on. If let's say he does go at the end of the year, and I do agree. I think he's earned the right to at least finish out the year. And I mean, unless they're just so horrible that the new management needs to cut ties altogether. But who do you see coming in? I mean, any ideas on somebody that could come in and help with the rebuild, or who wants to? I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, you have to, if you're looking for a coach that's already established to come in and help these young players, like who's around that wants to be involved?
I don't think you see that anymore at all. You really don't.
Yeah.
Every team is taking chances with young coordinators. They're all doing it. All of them.
Okay.
I mean, can you think of any head coach that's been hired recently that really kind of had experience? Really.
No, not really. True. That's true. But I guess that's the one thing that I would be interested to find out, if the new ownership wants, hey, we're rebuilding. We got young guys. Let's just bring in a new head coach to kind of get their feet wet and build with these guys, or because that is kind of the new mindset. I feel like back in the day it was always, okay, we have to bring some old guy in who's established. Let's bring in Bill Parcells for the fourth time. And not no knock on him. I think he's a legend, but I mean, like he was. I mean, I think 4 or 5 different teams that he coached with over his career.
He would only stay there 4 or 5 years.
Exactly. And then have some heart issues or some other health issues and would have to leave. And
all of a sudden
he
turned into Urban Meyer.
Yeah. 3 or 4 years later, he's I'm good again. So whatever. But okay. So before, one last question for you guys. Then, do you think? I mean, I kind of pretty much agree with. I mean, yes, Washington's going to be at the bottom. Philly's going to be at the top. You guys kind of talked me into going with Dallas second and the Giants. So I was actually originally going to say I thought the Giants would be second and, maybe a game in front of Dallas. I mean, it would be close, but it would, could switch those two around, because I do think that that Dable is the real deal, and I think they might continue to build on that momentum. But are we going to see 3 teams from the NFC East then in the playoffs again like we did last year? Because I don't really see any other. And I mean, obviously in the next 3 weeks we'll be doing the other divisions too, but like I could see 3 teams again going to the playoffs from the NFC East.
Oh, you said 3 teams?
Well, yeah. I mean, like, could we see Philly, Dallas, and the Giants all in the playoffs again like we did last year?
Nobody's going to deserve to come out of the South.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And the NFC North, I I don't know.
I don't know.
mean,
Okay. I could.
So
The reason I would say no is because I think the Seahawks and the Niners come out of the West, and there's three
Okay.
wild cards, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because
And
the 4 division winner. Yeah, through cards. Yeah.
man, I don't know if a second team from the North can hang with the third place team in the East.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I like
I don't
first.
know.
I mean, the NFC
that'd be
South
hard.
for sure is only going to have one. I'd be shocked if they had more than one. And then
That
you
third-
have the NFC
whoever that
West,
third team-
NFC.
Whoever that third team in the East is going to make a run for it for that 7 spot.
Yeah.
You know, I think a team that we're forgetting about, and it's kind of surprising me a little bit because I know they had a down year last year, but I think we're really forgetting about the Rams, and I think the Rams are going to bounce back this year.
You think so?
I do. I really do. I
Sarah,
think
this
they're going to
is-
bounce back. I think a lot of people are hating on Minnesota. I don't see that much changing from Minnesota. I still think they're going to be in a lot of close games. I still think they're going to win a lot of close games. I think that 7 seed is. I see Chicago fighting for it. I see Minnesota fighting for it. I see the Rams fighting for it. Seattle's in that mix, and then whoever that third place in the NFC East, I think they're all fighting for that 7 seed.
You don't see Arizona fighting for it?
No, I don't see it. I see Arizona fighting for the top 7 pick.
Damn.
TJ with his damn Arizona. Jeez. Come on, TJ, get off Arizona.
So yeah, I guess the
All
long
right.
roundabout answer, I say no. I don't think 3 teams make it from the East.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Well, now let's move on, and we're gonna. I know we had talked about what our plan was at the beginning. Why don't we, since we're talking about the NFL, let's talk a little bit about the whole Jonathan Taylor situation too, because Brad, you brought that up in the prep. So why don't you kind of? I mean, I'm sure a lot of people already know what you're talking about, but let's you introduce it, and then we'll kind of give our 2 cents here on.
Yeah, so living here in Indy, there's been a lot of heat on the news and as well as on radio, like sports talk and stuff. Not necessarily. I mean, it really kind of mostly towards Jonathan Taylor, to be quite honest. He's, kind of. I guess here in Indiana, this is a very conservative state, man. A lot of people are very traditional, and they're like, "Hey, man, you're here." So, and Ursay came out publicly, which I don't think he should have done. I think he should have said, "It's like, hey, we're having discussions, and that should be that. It's everything else. He shouldn't be coming out saying he can ask for a trade, but guess what? It ain't going to be happening." He just came out and publicly said it that it ain't gonna. I mean, you don't deal with a player's business out in public like that. And I think that's something that again, because he's got so much fu money that he just basically says and does whatever he wants, and sometimes it comes to bite him in the ass. And I think that interaction is going to come to bite them in the ass. They're gonna. I think they eventually will either have to figure out some way in order to kind of give him some extra money in order to make him happy temporarily. Is that the solution to keep him on board? I mean, again, just all the body language and all the pouting on TV and, just stand there.
There's really no need for them to hang on to him, to be honest, Brad. Is there? There's no reason to hang on to him.
I don't know. I mean, the thing is that, again, he's as I see both sides because, again, he's one of the best running backs they've had in a while. At the same time, that you got a couple of problems. You got the running back position just being at a significantly lower commodity or value compared to other positions. In addition, that he was hurt all of last year. So, I mean, it's really.
But I mean, wouldn't trading him or some getting rid of him somehow, wouldn't that help them in their rebuild process? Because you can say whatever they want to say, but they're rebuilding.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think that jury is still out. I just wonder if Chris Ballard is kind of concocting something. I mean, even though yes, they do have Anthony Richardson, their defense is very good. It's very good, actually.
Yeah, it was down last year, but they had some injuries.
Yeah, they did, and so again, I expect Indy to come back and even contend a little bit for that AFC South.
Hmm.
I think they can win it at least 8 games. I think they can win 8 games.
Well, that's definitely that's another one of those divisions that I mean, right now it just looks like it's Jacksonville and everybody else. So
yeah, I think
mean-
that Houston's behind them, like overall in the grand scheme of things, and
Mhm.
where they're kind of like maturation of team and you know, I guess you'd say like the time frame of development. I think Indy's still ahead of Houston, and I think Tennessee's taken a step back, and
Mhm.
so again, I don't see them winning the division at all. I
So
think it's Jacksonville, but
let me
but
ask
yeah,
this.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, you're good.
So I'm looking at the roster for Indy right now. All right, let's say he's gone. Their running back room, okay. Zaire Scott, Zach Moss, Deion Jackson, Evan Hull, and Jake Funk. Who the hell are half of those kids? And I'm gonna tell you right now, I know one of those kids personally that's in that running back room, and he won't do anything for him. He's got it. He's got himself a Super Bowl ring for being a bench warmer. Proud of him for it. But at the same time, the only guy that I actually truly know, like I've heard his name for, Zach Moss, because Zach Moss played at Utah.
Yep.
He was a great runner, physical runner. You've got Anthony Richardson. That dude is himself a running back, a quarterback, and a tight end built in a single body. I just don't. I don't see.
Do they trade
don't
him
see-
and then maybe sign Kareem Hunt on a 1-year deal?
Would they sign Elliott? I mean,
Maybe.
there's a lot of what ifs in this whole situation, and in my eyes, and we talked about this last week, and in my eyes, you look at running backs, I feel like they're the biggest prima donnas outside of quarterbacks. They want all this money because, yes, I can run the ball at, a 4.2, 4.3 speed. I can break it up the middle. I have not once seen a running back in the NFL nowadays who can run north-south. Everybody's east-west. You get about 2 yards up, and they come back south. Give me somebody who will run through the tackles where they're supposed to. Designated run, I will pay you that money.
I don't know. I think that's kind of, I don't know. Like just this is a fan's perspective, not a player's perspective. That I would say like more teams have adopted that zone blocking scheme on the front that allows them to be able to kind of wait, hit those holes. I think I would agree that the way the offensive line, like their tactics and the way they do block is mostly zone run blocking.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're in an and short yardage, and short situation, that's when you're generally just boom, just go straight at them, bowl them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's I don't know. If I had to put my money on this, I think he gets moved. That's just my opinion.
I think the vibe is that he's going to get moved, but it's at the same time like there's been a couple teams that have been linked to pursuing Taylor. The Rams being one, the Bills.
They always get brought up when running backs get up, and they never go after him. I don't know
Yeah.
why they always get linked to running backs.
Yeah.
They were linked with McCaffrey. They were linked with who was the other big running back that got traded recently? I don't remember. But they always get linked to these big name running backs. I don't know why. And then I guess like Buffalo does not. I mean, most teams do not value that running back spot anymore. We've talked about this ad nauseum. And Buffalo is one of them teams. They will just keep getting a guy second or third day and plug him in and hope for the best because they rely. They're like a 60% passing offense. They don't need a running back. So.
Yeah, but that at the same time, if you get a running back who can at least catch the ball, it adds a lot of options to your passing game too. So I don't, I mean, I will say the Packers are going to be valuing, I think, the run more, a lot more than they have this year. So, hopefully in their case, Dylan and Aaron Jones both stay healthy. So, all right. So let's move on to the next topic. Why don't we discuss the Major League Baseball, because I know TJ wants to do a little bragging here. So TJ, why don't we lead off? Major League Baseball had their trade deadline, which was, I believe, Tuesday.
Yes.
August 1st.
6 p.m.
And TJ, you had a pretty big prediction in our private chat. So why don't you go ahead and tell that, and then we'll talk more.
So it's funny because a lot of my buddies and I, actually one of my buddies commented on one of the posts in our group chat and on Facebook, and the guy goes, looking at the last, I think it was like 7 hours of this opening up, what do you see coming up? And in there I said, I see Justin Verlander coming back to Houston. And my buddy Adam, he's like, no, he's coming back to Detroit. He has more history with Detroit, this, that, whatever. And I said, think about it. Justin Verlander's career was truly like magnified playing for Houston. 2 World Series trophies. I think he had like 2 no-hitters, multiple perfect games. He had, I think, a Cy Young award, and he only played 5 seasons with them, where he played from 2005 to 2016 with the Tigers, 1 World Series. But of course, he multiple other accolades. So being an Astros fan that I am, I was actually really happy because I feel like this will be the year he finishes the season. Do we win the World Series, go back-to-back? Hell no. I see the Rangers coming out of nowhere and probably knocking us out. If anything, the O's. The O's are a team that right now are red hot. They just picked up a guy, the dude from St. Louis, and I can't remember his name.
Jack Flaherty.
Thank you. And he pitched today.
Yep,
beautifully. Had solid few innings. He pitched 6 innings. And, he definitely was I always say he was nervous. All right, you go from the Cardinals, who I don't know what their place is in the division that they're in, to a red hot. They're 5th.
Yeah, they're dead last. Okay.
You like saying that, didn't
you? Don't get too happy yet, Brad. Come on now. We still got 2 months left. Don't jinx it. All right?
Sorry.
But he goes from dead last to first place. It's a lot to really put your name into. So
yep.
Usually it's Orioles going from dead last to going to the Cardinals going to first.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think that the biggest out of the whole free agency or the whole trade deadline, whatever, the biggest team I think that truly surprised me the most was the Rangers. I thought the Rangers full-fledged they were full set. Their rosters were, they could go from now to, playoffs. They're good to go. They picked up Max Scherzer, and Max Scherzer had a hell of a game today. And, they could just go from there. So, I think the biggest winners in this, it's Houston and it's Texas. And the biggest loser, the Mets. But the Mets already suck, so that's okay.
What was interesting about the Mets, I saw that the reason that Verlander agreed to the trade was because the Mets basically told him, yeah, next year we're not going to do anything. Like they're trying to cut all that. And I saw that, or I heard, I think it was yesterday morning on the way to work, listening to one of the sports talk shows, that if you take all the players that the Mets have gotten rid of in the last, a month or whatever, or either traded or, they would have the 17th highest payroll in all of Major League Baseball, just looking at those guys. And in fact, from what I understand, they even, not only did the Mets trade Verlander, but they also sent like $35 million in cash or something like that down to Houston. I've never even heard of that, but if that isn't, and they asked this question this morning, and I'll ask the three of you, is what's going on right now with the Mets? Is it let me see how they phrased it. Is it a an indictment on the current system in Major League Baseball, or well, I guess let me just ask, what does it say to you guys about the system right now and how baseball works? Because I've always felt like as a Brewers fan, I mean, we always hear every year when this time of year comes around, the excuse is, well, remember, we're a small market team, so we can't really do a whole lot. And like, to me, I feel like the Brewers are always going to be. I mean, there might be. Well, a couple years ago, they went to the NLCS against the Dodgers, took them to Game 7, so that was awesome. I mean, that was amazing. Because I really wasn't back in '82. I wasn't old enough to really pay attention at that point. But do you see small market teams ever really competing, or is it going to be just a situation where every once in a while a team gets lucky?
I mean, take a look at Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah.
I mean, Tampa Bay Rays are 100% small market.
Oh, sure.
And that is not a baseball town. It's a big city, but it's not it's a minute baseball market. And it just goes to show you got the right people in place, making the right decisions, scouting the right players. I mean, they clearly got something figured out where. I mean, how do you constantly be in the bottom third in regards to paying players in order to retain them who again, rightfully so, go out and get a contract that is worth a lot to play somewhere else.
Yeah.
I mean, but again, they clearly have something figured out within their farm system that has identified players, and they've continued to pipe them through.
Yeah, it's the new Moneyball. It's the new Moneyball with them. Like they're literally like the late '90s, early 2000s A's.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like one of our listeners here, Austin, he's talking about baseball needs to be going to salary cap, and to be quite honest, like I never understood why baseball never did. Like I understand the whole purpose of like the luxury tax and how much you're going to be paying over it. You got to pay in addition to, but again, I don't know. I think it's a form of stacking the deck. To be quite honest, you got the most money. However, we've also seen that what's Exhibit A is the Yankees. What have they done in almost 2 decades?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, then that
not
goes.
That much.
It goes too with the not for as long as of a sample as that, but even look
at the team we just talked about,
the Padres, the Mets. I mean, but the Padres keep shelling out, big contract after big contract, and they've never done anything. I mean, same with. I mean, you could look at Anaheim and see what they've done.
Yeah.
In terms of with Trout and Ohtani, and I mean, like it just baseball frustrates me at times because. Well, yes, I agree. If you look at some of those that we just mentioned, the Yankees, the Mets, and some of those, like.
Yeah, okay, listen to this. The Mets payroll is a grand total of, take a guess. Anybody take a, just look in there, give me a quick number. How much?
How many 400 million.
How many?
400 million.
Okay.
I'll say 225.
I'd say like 760.
Ooh, that's way too high. It's 340. The next highest is the Yankees at 280 million.
Okay.
The third highest, the San Diego Padres, 250 million.
Where are those teams?
Every single one of those teams are with the exception of the Yankees, who are in last place and 10 games back in their division. So I kind of put them there. They're under 500.
Yep.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, dude.
They're all out of the playoffs.
Tampa Bay Rays, $77 million.
And it's funny too because they always say money buys everything. Money in baseball does not buy.
Baltimore Orioles, $70 million.
Yeah,
even
and
less.
It's funny because they were in the running for Shohei Ohtani, and I don't know if you guys really get a lot of the Orioles like whatever. Did you hear who the Angels wanted for Shohei Ohtani, or the Angels wanted from the Orioles for Shohei Ohtani? They wanted Rutschman. They wanted Rutschman, Gunnar Henderson, Westbrook, and Jackson Holiday on top of 5 first-round picks.
Oh my goodness!
For a guy that's contract's running out at the end of the year, that could be real. There's no way.
So
Jesus.
listen, I'm 105.7 The Fan here in Baltimore. They were talking about that on Wednesday. And the Angels wanted all of that for one player. And literally, oh, damn, I can't think of the Orioles. Mike Elias looked at, like they said he was on the phone. They gave him that like option, and he goes, "You must be smoking some good weed in Anaheim," and slammed the phone on the ground. That was so outrageous. Oh well, look at that. We just lost to the Yankees.
How outrageous is that?
How outrageous is that?
Well, it happens
Damn, I
every
think I
once
had
in
a
a
bet
while.
on that
You
game
know,
too.
I mean, hell, the Brewers lost 3 in a row to the Oakland A's
Well, hey,
earlier in the year. You know, so
we
I
had
mean,
we had a no hitter this week, so I'm happy.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
There you
First left-hander in Astros history to have a no hitter.
go. Nice. Okay, so
I was
Oh,
thinking,
go ahead.
I think when there's one more acquisition though that I think like when it comes to the losers of the trade deadline, I think the Angels are going to end up being in the losers bracket of the trade deadline for sure. They picked up those pitchers from the White Sox, Lopez, Giolito,
Mhm.
but I mean, is it? I don't know, man. I think it's too little, too late. I think that was a bad move. I think they were desperate to do something. And I think it's going to come bite them in the butt because shoot, they're right now they're currently 4 games back in the wild card,
Mhm.
and there's like 3 teams ahead of them. So I don't know. I don't think the Angels are going to make it in. I think they're big losers this year.
Yeah, I would agree, but it'll be interesting to see. I mean, that the most interesting thing for them this year is going to be what happens with Otani more so than anything that could go on the field, honestly, with them. But okay, so let's go now to we're getting lower on time here. We'll try to keep it to an hour. So let's touch on the Women's World Cup. And like I said, I wish that Marco, if you're listening, if you wanna send us any of our picks through through the text message or through our group chat, so we can find out how close any of us were. But
I found it.
Oh, did you?
So yeah, we all didn't he just say Germany got eliminated?
Yeah, Germany is eliminated.
Everybody had Germany in their bracket. So
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay. But now Brad, I mean we talked about it before the show started. What 2 teams again did you put the bet on? Put your
Okay,
bets
so
on.
yeah, I've got I put when the odds were plus 10,000 for 8 different teams to make the quarterfinals. So they not only had to get out of the knockouts or get into the knockout stage, they got to win 1 game in the knockout stage. And so I put $1 on each of those teams, and 2 of them are currently still in. They're in the knockout stage, and however, it's it's going to be kind of my prediction is that I lose. Because South Africa is one of those teams, and they are playing against the Dutch, the Netherlands. Netherlands is a top 5 world team. And I think South Africa is ranked like 40 something. So no, I don't see that happening. I have an even lower ranked team with Morocco, and Morocco they play France, and again France is always a good team. So again,
yeah.
if God is on my side this year, then hey, then I'm gonna win $100. And if he isn't on my side for this, okay, I lost a couple bucks. Not a big deal.
Oh man,
Okay.
so I mean, I think the big story out of this whole thing so far, in
Dude,
my opinion, is the Americans are just not getting together offensively at all. Like they are, I don't know what's going on. From everything I've watched, it looks sloppy. They're not getting good shots on goal. I wish our soccer experts were here more with Marco and Ben and stuff. But man, it just does not look good. And
Well, I agree.
I wonder if U.S. gets knocked out by Sweden.
Well, and that's something I did say though last week. It would not surprise me if the U.S. were to get knocked out this year because of how cocky we've been.
Well, I mean, I've been watching a lot of the games on replay. There's one I watched live, and it was a game against it was the Netherlands game that they had to come back and kind of score in the second half. And
Yep.
the thing is, like, offensively in the second half of that game, they played really well. To be quite honest, they missed a couple wide open ones, but they were in fact moving the ball and getting some good offensive pressure. The Portugal match is the match that kind of like, what? Like, how are you drawing with this team? You know, they're not even a top 20 team in the world, and you're drawing with them. Come on. But again, hey, it's a professional tournament, and those things are going to happen. Man, I'm not sure how the United States makes it to the end. I'm not sure. From what I've seen, again, just from visually, from what you've seen. Again, I'm not questioning their passion, their fire, their drive. I'm not questioning any of that. Just from what I've seen on the field, I've seen other teams perform better, which makes me less optimistic.
Well, and let me just go back to what you just said though, Brad. Would it be fair to question their passion and their drive and their?
I don't know if you're playing for, again, these women aren't making a ton of money. They are, you know, I think it's not like World Cup is like the Olympics. You know, you're representing your country, and there are people who want to do that, who do believe in that. Those ladies do, otherwise they wouldn't be playing. So I don't know. I don't. I'm not going to question their motivation because I'm not. You know, they're the ones out there doing the training and the work and all that stuff. I'm not doing that.
Sure.
So
well, I guess the reason I ask is because it was brought up in our private chat about Carly Lloyd's comments and her criticism, and and I guess she did walk it back. I'm just reading some of the updates or whatever, walked a little bit of it back, but which I wish she didn't do because frankly, I think from what I had heard of what her comments were, it was, there is some justifiable aspects of what she said in terms of, I think she made a comment. The original comments had to do with, maybe focus more on the game and not so much on other outside issues. And I guess my feeling was, I've heard that from other players from other past championship teams that, they felt like they were certain social issues, certain things that were going on at the time were kind of being forced upon them, whether it was even going back and, I don't want to necessarily start anything, but going back to the kneeling thing, I think, which was back in 2000. Well, when was the last World Cup? Was it 2021 or 2019? Whenever they have it, I think that was kind of in the middle of the whole kneeling thing during the anthem, in the NFL and all that kind of stuff. And so they were doing it. I know a number of players said they felt like they were forced or, pressured to kneel and that kind of stuff. And, and I realize that's not necessarily going on here because from what I've heard, they've been standing for that and whatever. But, there are a number of players on that team who have been very outspoken in the past about different social issues. So I guess my question is it possible that maybe they're just not that focused? And I guess that's a question that they need to, that they need to, I mean, none of us can answer that because none of us are on the team, but
it certainly appears that way.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that Carly Lloyd, has a unique aspect because she was on the team and, now she's analyzing but I'm sure she's still close to the team. I'm sure she's still close to certain players on the team. So when she says stuff like that, it does make me wonder, or maybe are they just, is it possible that a team can just get bored? I mean, they've been so dominant for so long in that you just kind of come to expect that, yeah, we're gonna roll through some of those games. I don't know. I mean,
I don't know, man. As a coach, I thought when it was pretty fun all the time.
well, yeah, I mean,
To be quite
well,
honest,
yeah, no, and I agree with you. I mean, I would feel that way also, but at the same time, sometimes you see some of these teams that, they kind of coast, or at least during regular, like if you look at team sports, sometimes you watch a team and you're like, gosh, are they just coasting or going through the motions because they assume that they're going to win that game, so, and I realize that this is the World Cup. It's not like just some friendly or anything like that. So I would hope they would be a little more focused, but yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if they lost to Sweden. And I don't know a ton about soccer. I don't really follow it all that much, but I mean, it just, when you have to have a draw against, two of the teams just to barely get into the knockout round. And even Carly Lloyd said they should be going home. They shouldn't even be going to the next round. So I don't know.
Well,
Troy.
hey, but they're not, and
No,
that's
I agree.
I
agree.
But they're not, and ultimately, that's all that matters. That they're still in, and I don't think there's ever should, unless there's something like very blatant that I don't think like that you should be going home. I hate that statement, man, because it's just like the fact of the matter is you're not.
Right.
That's the
That's a good
fact.
point.
It's like there is no should have, because you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's boo. Don't like
it. Okay. All right. We know. Don't say that anymore in front of Brad.
Goes against everything I preach as a coach, man. That's we are.
Woulda, shoulda, coulda, doesn't matter. Here we are.
Exactly. It's like it's like just like in Star Wars, man. There is no try, only do.
Yeah.
Thank you, Yoda.
Very true. Very true. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
in the show, I actually found this really neat website that has sports trivia on it.
Okay.
And for some reason, you guys went black on me.
Oh. Wait, hold on. Before we start this, there's controversy at this football game. The lights just went out.
I saw that.
Oh, is that what's going on?
So they're probably gonna end up calling the game or something.
Well,
yeah, that's what they're in the middle of the field talking about it right now. But good majority of them lights just went out.
I mean, does it really matter? It's the Browns.
Well, we'll be seeing this is going to be a preview of the AFC Championship game. So
sure it is.
Sure it is. Yeah.
I think Aaron Rodgers just pulled the plug because they were about to get their butts kicked by the Browns.
Oh, their butts kicked. They're down by 2.
Right,
by a bunch of guys that aren't even going to be on the team. Anyway, go ahead, Brad.
I wanted to do just a few minutes of outlandish sports trivia. Some things like you just may or may not know from random stuff. So, for example, I'm gonna ask for an answer around the horn. We'll go Aaron, Troy, TJ.
All right.
A good walk spoiled is how Mark Twain believed to have described what sport?
Golf.
I mean, yeah, I'll agree with that.
I go golf as well.
The correct answer is, in fact, golf.
Yeah.
Each of you get 1 point. Congratulations.
Written by
makes sense. Yeah.
A book written by John Feinstein, actually.
Michael Jordan has worn 3 numbers on his jersey in his career. 23, 45.
Yep.
And what? TJ, Aaron, Troy.
9.
Aaron.
Technically, that's right.
In his NBA career.
Okay.
NBA, not an Olympic.
Dream team. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
Oh, his NBA career. Okay. I will say 12. I don't know.
That is correct.
That is in fact correct. 12 is right.
Is it really?
It is.
Yeah, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. There was one game where the equipment manager misplaced his jersey, and he had to get a new jersey temporarily for that game. So congratulations, Aaron and Troy, for the additional point.
Nice. All right.
TJ should get half a point.
All right. What is the name of the fictional sport played in Harry Potter?
Oh boy. I'm not a Harry
Troy,
Potter
Aaron,
fan.
and then TJ.
Tiddlywinks. I don't.
Isn't it Kidditch?
Quidditch.
You said Quidditch?
Or yeah, it's like QIDDICH or something like that. I don't,
Man,
That
my
sounds. I think I've heard that before, but yeah, I'd never watched Harry Potter.
And that is correct.
Yeah, that sounded familiar when they said it. Yeah.
All right,
Nice.
Aaron's got a slight lead over you guys, 3-2.
right. Yes.
All right. What is the average baseball game lasts
Like
2 to 3
time-wise?
hours? During this time, how many minutes of actual play action are there? On average,
Oh.
this is again just an average. How many?
So we're talking about from when the pitcher goes into his windup. Is that
during this time, on average, how many minutes of play action are there?
I'm going to say like 35 minutes.
Whoever's closest is going to get this point.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 55.
I'm gonna go 47.
Aaron's the closest.
Wow.
The average is 18.
Wow! What?
Holy cow!
What?
That's
How is that even possible?
I wonder
How
when that was.
many-
I wonder when that was done, actually, or when that was figured
Here's
out.
another get close. How many dimples are there on an average golf ball?
Oh my god!
Yeah. Oof.
We'll go Aaron, Troy, TJ.
Here, let me count.
Don't lose count now. Don't. I'll say 60.
Am I up?
Yep.
112. 112.
Tex,
45.
you said 45.
Yeah.
Troy was the closest. The average dimples is 336.
Oh.
Holy crap!
Wow.
336 dimples.
Wow.
336. Wow.
In the Motown Muscle, the Philadelphia Hitmen, and the Las Vegas High Rollers are all professional teams in what sport?
I'm gonna say roller derby.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm gonna say roller derby too.
All of you are incorrect.
Oh,
Wow.
That is bowling.
What?
bowling.
Bowling.
I didn't even know there was bowling teams. I thought they were all
Yes,
individuals.
There's a PBA league where they actually draft players onto their teams and they compete
my.
against the other teams for.
I didn't know that.
For what,
Oh, wow.
It's
How
called,
many-
it's called the Elias Cup.
Who do
How
you think
many,
you are? I am.
How many teams are in that league, Brad? Do you know?
3.
No, there are I think 10, either 8 or 10.
Okay. All right.
Oh man.
Let's do one more. That I wanted to ask this question, but I think it'd be too easy for everybody.
All right.
What was the original name for ping pong?
Oh boy.
Like slap ball or something.
Ping pong. Is that table tennis?
It was called Whiff Waff.
Whiff.
Whiff waff.
Whiff Waff.
Nice.
Let's go play with the Whiff Waff.
Was it a guy that had a lisp?
Yeah.
You meant to call it riff raff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought again. I came across those just like by browsing some stuff. I was like, that's a great way to end the show tonight. Just
There you go.
get some just funny, just outlandish
Wow.
sports stuff out.
How
So what was the
interesting.
final score here?
Final score is Aaron 4, Troy 3, and TJ 2.
Oh, nice. All right.
Yeah, you guys. If I would have knew that Quidditch, I would have hung in there. But yeah, Harry Potter got me. I didn't know that guy.
Yeah, and I've only seen it I think like one time, but anyway.
When you said it, I was like, oh, I've heard that before. That's it.
Well, and the thing is, I wouldn't have known, but my son and I, like before he goes to bed, we've been reading Harry Potter, and so it's been pretty cool. Like I've been really enjoyed it, man. Like I never read any of the books. I've never seen any of the movies. I don't want to say I'm anti, but like I just never have. And
Right.
now that I'm reading, I'm like, this is actually pretty cool.
Nice.
My wife
Nice.
is obsessed with it.
Yeah.
So it's like every Christmas we have to watch every one.
Oh.
You know, that
okay, if
that's
we're watching
one.
this, my turn to put on some good movies.
Die Hard.
Die Hard.
I was yeah.
National Christmas Vacation.
That's like one of the movies though that I was surprised my kids haven't really gotten into, especially my son. I thought he would be really into it, and they're just like, I mean, which is fine because I really, I never really got. I love the Lord of the Rings. I feel like the Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter kind of came out at the same time, if I'm not mistaken, at least
Pretty
for
close.
the movies.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
And I love the movies for the Lord of the Rings movies. Okay, yeah, and her mom's driving her nuts, so she's down here right now and just hanging out next to me. Yeah. Well, they can't. Hey, they said hi. Yeah.
That
All
was
right.
just
Okay.
the best. Someone should have taken a screenshot of that. This just
I
creepy
know.
face and the Dad's Bacon logo.
Yeah. Well, I gotta actually redo the basement and fix up my studio, quote unquote, so that I don't have to have the background because somebody tries to walk back in me and you see like half their face just like hanging there. It's kind of weird. Anyway, so all right, well, why don't we wrap up and next week we'll be talking about let's see who are we next week will be the NFC South is the conference, so
I think I'm busy next week.
yeah, no kidding. Whoever it is, they'll be losing in the first round. So, all right. So, let's. Anyone have any big plans before we leave for the weekend, or what do you got, TJ? What do you got?
So I'm actually going to take my best friend, who was my best man at my wedding, to his very first MLB game tomorrow.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Good
Orioles
stuff.
or the Nats?
We're going to go see the Orioles play the Mets, and
Okay.
then on Tuesday we're going to go see the Orioles get their ass handed to them by the Astros.
Oh, nice. Anyone else? Brad, you said you're just gonna go like kind of let loose tomorrow after.
Yeah,
after work.
I'm gonna need after this week I'm gonna need a drink. So that sounds really good. And
High quality. Whoa.
yeah, I think all I got planned for the weekend is our church is doing like a little kind of like outdoor landscaping kind of cleanup day. So
gotcha.
we'll be over there for a few hours helping just get some work done. And I also the video game tournament I'm going to be playing in. All the games get announced on Saturday afternoon. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, I'm super excited about it. I'm actually hoping to get some kind of like a little bit of advertising out over the next 5 weeks because
Okay.
I want to use that chance as an opportunity to try and not like cash in on subs and stuff like that, but to
Yeah.
actually fundraise for our esports team at school.
Oh, nice. Now, so when is the actual tournament?
The actual tournament will take place on Saturday, September 9th.
Okay.
So
All
it's they announce the games 5 weeks ahead of time, and they'll list all the goals and stuff that go with it.
Okay.
And so
And it's all retro, right? You said it's all
yeah,
retro.
it's all 8-bit.
The
and
Wizard.
yes.
Cool.
The Wizard.
Oh, I love that game, man. That was a fun game. But
I'm talking about the movie with Fred
Yeah.
Savage.
oh, the
Yeah,
movie. Oh, okay.
yeah.
I was because there was
Yeah.
one for the Commodore 64.
That's a cult
The
classic
Wizard.
for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So
So
But-
I don't
Alright,
really have
cool.
any plans other than my son's birthday's tomorrow. We're gonna take him out shopping, let him pick
nice.
some gifts out, and take him out for dinner, all that kind of fun stuff. So that's pretty much my only plan this weekend. But
cool.
yeah, my youngest guy's turning 9 tomorrow. So
Nice.
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 Yeah.
One more year of single digits. So
yes, sir.
you should enjoy it. Better enjoy it, man, because
Yeah.
it goes downhill from there. No.
Oh man, when our folks and our elders and stuff say, "Hey, enjoy it. It goes fast." They aren't kidding. Man. It goes fast.
That's for sure. That's very, very true. Very true. All right, guys. Well, everybody have a great weekend, and we'll see everybody back here next week.
See you
Take care.
later.
See you later, guys.